Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Good Tuesday afternoon, First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips coming to you from the First Alert desk. Happy to have you here this afternoon. I know that there's a lot of competition out there on the internet, of course, with that big breaking news for the Taylor Swift fans out there. So I'm glad that you were able to spare at least a few minutes. Now, if you're maybe a little bit behind, I got that push alert from the TV5 News app. So if you don't have that app, you're going to want to make sure that you get that downloaded, because we always have the latest information coming out there, so you can always kind of stay on top of everything. Even if you're busy at work or kind of running errands, you can get those alerts to stay updated through the day. Another good app to have is the First Alert Weather app. We'll bring that up for you as well, just kind of pushing all of these to make sure that you are staying connected with us, not only for news, but if you're really looking for weather, having the First Alert Weather app is going to be the best tool for the weather side of things, because we don't have a lot of weather inside our TV5 News app. So if you want anything and everything talking about what's happening outside, the First Alert Weather app is where it's at. So if you're wondering, why do we have the two different apps? Well, the First Alert Weather app has a lot more to it. You have the lightning tracker there, you have the radar there. You're going to get videos from the First Alert Weather team on that app. There are so many more items to where when you go to our news app, we typically put our weather blog there, so you don't have radar within it. So that's why we say have that First Alert Weather app, download it, update it. It's free to have. It is on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. So here's that QR code one more time. I know maybe a little bit fatigued with scanning, but it is always a good way to kind of stay connected with everybody. Now, we are going to be talking about later on here in just a little bit your First Alert forecast, but I do have some pretty exciting video, and I'm sure you've seen that also on social media. So it's not only the Taylor and Travis news that everybody's excited about, but I know that we've been seeing a lot of news regarding the haboob that happened yesterday in Arizona. Now, I know that the name is maybe not what you would say user-friendly, but actually the name does come from an Arabic word. So when you hear haboob, it is a legit scientific word that we use in the meteorological world. If you want to do a little bit of extra research, I highly recommend the American Meteorological Society. They have a glossary. So if you go and kind of search American Meteorological Society and you search, once you get there, the word haboob, you'll get kind of all the science, really kind of the breakdown of where it came from. So that's just a really good place to get that explanation, because I know the name might not be as user-friendly as what folks would maybe hope for, but it is a legit weather term that the meteorological world uses. So again, it does come from those Arabic words that have been coming through history. Now, some of the video that I'm showing here, again, coming from Arizona. So this is from a thunderstorm that came through yesterday. So what happened was the thunderstorm came through the Phoenix area. And even like we have here, thunderstorms a lot of times drop a lot of wind and rain with them. And then it hits the ground. So this is called an outflow boundary. So that boundary falls and it comes down, it hits the ground, and then it spreads out. It's got to push that air out. And that's how the haboob starts. So you have then all that dust around the southwest portion of the country that really gets picked up, and it creates kind of a wall or a tower kind of look. So a lot of times we see near zero visibilities. You can see kind of that orangey color here. Even in this video, the owner said, I got to clean up my pool. It's going to be a little bit of work. But here you can see kind of that towering, that wall of dust. So mainly what is happening is a thunderstorm pushed all that wind out. And then you can see this one a little bit slower moving, but you can see kind of that wall of dust getting pushed in. Within the storms itself, it's really a lot of wind that is within them. So with the wind and the dust getting picked up, that's why a lot of times folks are recommended to kind of get off the road, stop driving. You want to head inside, wait for it to pass. This time-lapse video is very cool of kind of it showing coming in. And the National Weather Service did say that they still anticipated a few more thunderstorms to be developing in today's forecast. So that's why they're going to be still watching for some of these conditions to hold even into our Tuesday. Now, the Phoenix airport did see about 200 delays by the time that this all pushed through. So this was definitely something that not only slowed down drivers on the roadway, but of course also at the airport as well. So it is a lot of that blowing dust that kind of hit hit those conditions. And you'll even see here in this video the trees just really shaking. So that's the thing. The wind is really the strong component, but of course the dust makes that visibility so hard. So a haboob is a specific type of dust storm that does form. As I had mentioned, you kind of have that large towering wall of dust and debris that gets picked up, and that's because that outflow boundary, all that wind outflowing from the thunderstorm kind of pushes that out. But yet a general dust storm is kind of any storm that has some strong winds that blow dust around. So the difference really is that you have that outflow boundary component, and then you have the large towering wall of dust. So that's kind of the difference between the two. So haboobs technically are dust storms, but not all dust storms are haboobs because of that difference. So these systems, though, they can last for a few minutes or a few hours. I know one of our coworkers originally from the Arizona area, he said, yep, you just kind of head inside, and sometimes they're so fast you're inside and you don't even know that it passed by, and others they take a little bit longer. But that towering kind of wall dust formation, I've been seeing it over a lot of social media, so I'm sure that you have seen it as well. So that's why I wanted to share some of the videos that we were able to kind of capture from our affiliates, so that you could see this pushing through. The time-lapse video, I think, is just crazy. Of course, this one being sped up a little bit because the haboob itself was a little bit slower rolling in yesterday, but definitely some interesting science there. So if you do hear some rumblings, that is a meteorological term that is legit in the glossary. Again, the American Meteorological Society, or AMS glossary. If you Google that, you can then search and find out a little bit more on these haboobs as they come through. So definitely a little bit of fun video, but we do still have a lot happening in the first alert forecast here. We're watching for that high school football forecast. I do have an update on timing. We're also kind of keeping an eye to the weekend. We have a holiday weekend coming in, so we want to make sure that everybody's ready to go. So if you have some plans here later this week, we'll make sure that you're ready to go with that first alert forecast. We are going to take a quick 1-minute break, so make sure you stay with us. We're going to be right back. Thanks for sticking with us through that real quick break. We are going to be hopping into that first alert forecast. You are going to find that we do still have those fall-like conditions outside. Our temperatures are still holding into the 60s, and even last night we had some 40s out there. I should actually see if I can bring up those low temperatures that we had last night. Looks like... All right, this should be the graphic that I'm looking for. It does take a little bit to download off of the cloud, so that's why that data is a little bit low. But you are going to find our observed lows. So this is what some of the sensors that were showing across mid-Michigan. We had Houghton Lake at 40 degrees this morning, 46 for Saginaw, also 43 in Elma, 41 in Midland, 45 in Lapeer, and 41 in Bannax. Port Hope with the water able to hold on to 52 this morning. But definitely a refreshing start as you were stepping outside and the kids were going to the school bus. Of course, we still have a few more districts that are going to be back in session after Labor Day, but we still have quite a few students that are still working their way through a little bit of a cooler start to the school year. We will find that we still have a few more nights into the 40s coming our way, but yet I have one day this week that's going to be a little bit warmer. But the temperatures that we're experiencing are a little bit more in line with what we would have in late September, kind of early October. So we are definitely below average. We're a little bit ahead of schedule on some of this cold air, but I do have a little bit of an update. I was looking, kind of getting through the first half of September a little bit below average, but I do at least see some warmer air that will be funneling back in as we kind of reach that middle portion of September. So it is still, there is some room for changes at that point, but we are anticipating that we will kind of see another resurgence of some warmer air coming back in. Of course, with it being September, we kind of hope to keep that humidity at bay. So it should be a nice time to get outside if you're hoping to maybe use a little more time to get outdoors. We're hoping that September can do just that. Now, our temperatures outside currently, we are seeing a few more 70s today. We have 71 in Mount Pleasant, 70 degrees in Elma, Midland, Clare, Gladwin, 65 though in Houghton Lake, 67 in West Branch. We have 67 also at MBS Airport in Freeland, 66 in Flint, and 65 in Bad Axe, and 66 in Cairo. So a lot of us are still seeing those 60s. Where we have those 70s is closer towards 127 and just kind of creep in a little bit further east. But still, we should be seeing our temperatures easily into the mid to upper 70s at this point in August and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we are well behind, and because of the cold air still coming in, we yet again have another chance at some lake effect rain showers. So we are seeing that as that cold air blows over still the mild Great Lakes, that we are populating a few of these showers. Now these have kind of been getting going, the coverage a little bit lighter than yesterday, but we are still seeing that we have that rainfall still setting up towards the northwest corner of Clare County. And then that's going to continue closer towards US 10, riding along 75, and then we'll be seeing that a little bit closer to the thumb as well. So right now, Saginaw County kind of picking up the bulk of the rainfall, but it's still not going to be steady rain or even heavy rain. It's just going to be enough to where if you are driving, you will need those windshield wipers, but it shouldn't be too troublesome on our roadways. No lightning being detected. I do have that lightning detection on, but we are going to find just some general rain showers is what we have here this afternoon. As we go through the hour by hour, you'll see that the coverage, not necessarily the strongest of coverage, and we weren't anticipating to see as many showers as what we had yesterday. Even yesterday, we also had some lightning out there, but we will see as we go throughout the rest of our day that once those temperatures start to drop around 8 o'clock as that sun sets, then the rain chances die off. So it'll be just shortly after dinner that the rainfall will wrap up. It'll move out. So still by after school practice, we could run into a couple of showers that'll be there for maybe school drop off or picking up the kids, but we will see that they are still scattered. So check your First Alert Weather App radar as you're headed out to go and do the after school activities. As we go into tomorrow morning, we'll have a lot of sunshine to start the day, but into the afternoon, the cloud cover really starts to build. So we'll have some sun and some clouds, but it's the first half of the day that looks brighter compared to the later half that's a little bit more cloudy. As I mentioned, I'm hoping to at least keep some sunshine in for the dinner time frame, but it's definitely not going to be as bright as what we had here into the morning. Now, as we go overnight, we do have a cold front that's going to start to come in. So this is one of the changes that I wanted to talk about in the First Alert forecast, because we have that cold front. This is going to be sliding through. This does bring in the chance for some showers and some thunderstorms. But you can see here, it just starts coming in towards our northern counties around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of us are going to be asleep. Severe weather is not expected along this line, but this is going to be pushing through. So as this continues to swing further south, this will bring us the chance for yet rain at the bus stop and for the morning commute. So if you're maybe planning on getting into work a little bit early on Thursday, you're still going to want to add then a couple more minutes on top of that. So we will continue to track rainfall through the morning, the bulk of it trying to work its way out even before lunchtime, but I do still have a few showers that are going to hold even as we go into the early afternoon. But much of the rain is going to be wrapped up by the time we head towards high school football. So even though we have some lingering showers around 1, 2 o'clock, by 5, 6, 7 o'clock as these games are kicking off, we're going to see that we have a drier forecast that comes in. I'm actually going to bump this back just a little bit. So here's 7 o'clock. We do have some cloud cover, hopefully a little bit of sunshine behind the cold front, but the whole concept of being behind the cold front means a cooler forecast if you're going to be headed out to the bleachers. So be prepared that even though it is dry, it's going to be feeling more like a September-October game rather than the first game of the season while you're cheering on your school team. So I'm recommending having your favorite school sweatshirts on and You may also want to have a blanket just in case you have the metal bleachers that are a little bit on the cooler side, but we are going to see that then once that front passes, it sets us up for a great Labor Day weekend. I do want to bring up the high school football forecast. So for Friday Night Lights, I know our TV5 sports team has been working hard. They're actually going to have a preview show here on our digital platforms Wednesday evening, so make sure that you have those push alerts on the TV5 News app so you know what time to tune in for. But again, that's going to be Wednesday evening. To get a little more info on a lot of our high schools, they've been visiting a lot of them, at least double digits. So make sure if you are a big sports fan that you don't miss that show Wednesday evening. But as far as the forecast is concerned, temperatures into the mid-60s by kickoff, and then we will be by the fourth quarter or even the end of the game into the upper 50s. So it is going to cool out quite a bit. We are hoping, though, to keep it dry. So even though it's cooler, having it be dry is a big win for the fans. I know maybe some of the players like playing in the rain, but the fans, they like it dry when they're going to the games. So, of course, have the First Alert Weather app when you go there to kind of keep an eye on temperatures. We'll also be updating. We'll have another look at that forecast. Even though we call it Friday Night Lights, we do have a lot of our games that are on Thursday. So week one, always a little bit tricky, but hopefully then if you have that game Thursday night, you still have time to get out of town. You are going to see Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We do have the drier weather. That sunshine is going to be coming through. Even Friday is going to be looking great as well. We'll have some sunshine then as well. Temperatures on Friday going to be in the 60s, but then I do have 70s that roll in. So Saturday, lower 70s. By Monday, we're talking mid to upper 70s. So we're slowly trying to bring some of that heat back in through the holiday weekend. But the big win is that it is going to be dry. Of course, though, we do have that bonfire there. If you're doing that this weekend and you're traveling, make sure you do check on maybe some of those burn bans. If you need a burn permit, do the right thing and do a little bit of homework to make sure that it is safe to burn while you're out there. In the next 7 days, we will have those temperatures still into the 60s here through this week. Tomorrow is our one kind of mild day at 74 degrees, so that is still below average, but it is going to be the warmest day of this week. But we still have 60s that are going to be here through Friday into the weekend. 70s, beautiful forecast for people who are going to be out. And you'll see once we get through Thursday with the rainfall, beyond that, a lot of sunshine and dry weather. So it is a pretty nice forecast overall. We're happy to see that the rain should be out of here by the time high school football starts on Thursday, and then the weekend's dry and great. So we really have a lot of wins to celebrate here in the First Alert forecast. Even though it's a little bit cooler, at least we finally caught a break in a couple of spots and days in that forecast. But for the remainder of today, we'll just have those isolated showers, temperatures upper 60s, just getting into the lower 70s. A little more heat tomorrow with that sunshine, but those clouds build in, bringing us that rain chance then as we go into Thursday morning. Still some lingering rain will be around for the afternoon, but it wraps up towards the evening, setting us up for high school football and a great weekend. Of course, just another reminder to have that First Alert Weather app as you go to some of our games. I know I've been running this QR code, but it's always a great tool to have, and we can't stress enough that there's a lot of resources in there that you're missing out if you don't have the app already. So that QR code is going to be a big help if you are going to be even traveling this weekend. You can always go and set that to follow me, and it'll track where you are through the cell phone towers to make sure that you have the latest weather conditions wherever you are spending your weekend at. But we are going to be back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock at the First Alert Desk. As a reminder, we're always on WNEM.com, the TV5 News app. We're also streaming to the WNEM YouTube and Facebook pages. We're on Roku and Fire Stick and Android and Apple TV. So we have lots of ways to connect with us, and we hope that you'll connect with us tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.